Ubisoft continues to flagellate itself over and over and over again, whether it is with Assassin's Creed Shadows or with Star Wars Outlaws. In this case, the latest person to do this is Star Wars Outlaws creative director Julian Gerighty, who insulted gamers and is completely dismissing their valid criticisms, saying that they are making these criticisms in bad faith and he will not listen to them whatsoever. Well, the joke is probably going to be on him, as this game is likely not going to perform the way that Ubisoft and developer Massive Entertainment need it to do. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And before we get to what Julian Gerighty had to say, let's go over some of the criticisms that people have had regarding the character of Kay Vess. I think one of the most outspoken critics of her looks has been Mangaloyer over on X. He wrote this back in March. Total video game character assassination by feminist developers, Star Wars Outlaws 2024. They are taking all the beautiful models and turning them into chestless Karens. He then does side-by-side comparisons of the character of Kay Vess with the actress that they used to model the character, Umberly Gonzalez. And I think it's night and day that Umberly Gonzalez looks 100 times better than Kay Vess. Obviously, you can point to the character's chin, as Mangaloyer always likes to point to, but I also think the haircut and the hairstyle is just not attractive either. I think they're really trying to go for like that 70s look, and I don't find the way that they have her hair done is attractive at all. He posted this too with a comparison not only of Umberly with the character, but then points to another Star Wars game, Star Wars The Force Unleashed, which I don't even remember when that game came out. I feel like that was almost like 2 decades ago. But you can see clear difference in the way that the female characters looked in Star Wars The Force Unleashed compared to how Kay Vess looks today in 2024. I think it is objective to say that the characters in Star Wars The Force Unleashed are much more attractive than the character of Kay Vess in Star Wars Outlaws. And Mangaloyer points out, saying, "We never knew how good we had it, bros." It's not just Mangaloyer. Obviously, you've got this person here, Luis Romero, saying, "I was wondering if someone from the mod gaming community could fix the head and face model of Kay Vess from Star Wars Outlaws so it can look more like the actual model that Ubisoft hired for the face model of such character, Umberly Gonzalez." Again, side-by-side comparison of Umberly and Kay Vess. And I think this is like tens of thousands of people, at least thousands of people, do not like the character of Kay Vess. I think there's probably tens of thousands of people that just do not find this character attractive. And Julian Gerighty decided to respond to these criticisms and others. He did an interview with the Washington Post about the game, and he said, "Kay is meant to be approachable, a petty thief who ends up barreling through this story, making bad decisions and centered with a lot of humor, humility, and toughness. That's what's important to me. And she's beautiful. Come on. Are you doing your Joe Biden impression here, man? Absolutely not. She's definitely not beautiful. We've seen all the screenshots. We've seen the gameplay footage. She's just not an attractive character whatsoever." Nevertheless, he added this: "It makes no sense to me, and it's not worth engaging with." Yet he is actually engaging with it right now, right in the interview with the Washington Post. So if you actually thought that it was not worth engaging with, you wouldn't have engaged with it. So you're lying, because you are engaging with it. Nevertheless, this is what his real intention is. It's to attack you. It's to insult gamers. It's to attack us. He says, if you engage with bad faith people, that's us. He's referring to us, bad faith people like Mangaloyer, people like me, people like you all watching. There's no nuance and no possibility of real dialogue. Absolutely not. This guy is completely projecting now. What are the 3 laws of the SJWs? Talk about this all the time. You lie, double down, and you project. This guy is clearly doing that right here. He is obviously projecting because he's the one who's actually coming at this in bad faith, because he doesn't even want to listen to what people have to say, and he doesn't even want to communicate with them. So that's the guy who's coming at it with bad faith when he doesn't even want to hear any of the criticisms that people have. If you don't even want to hear the criticisms because you're trying to say that people are coming at bad faith, you're actually the one in bad faith, because how do you determine if they're coming at it with bad faith? I don't think Mangaloyer is coming at it with bad faith. I don't think that Luis Romero is coming at this with bad faith. This character is objectively not attractive compared to previous female characters, compared to female characters that are being created for games such as The First Descendant, such as Stellar Blade, where the characters are much more attractive. This character is not. You can even compare to the actual model, not attractive. So all we can do is make the best game possible. Basically, what this guy is doing, he's sticking his hands in his ears, he's shoving his head in the sand, and he's hoping and praying that the people that are on his team are going to buy this. I just don't think that is going to be the case whatsoever. In fact, this is a losing strategy. We see this time and time and time again. When you don't listen to the people making the criticisms, you end up in financial failure. Most recent example, Doctor Who, Shudigawa. What did he say? Don't watch the show, go touch grass. People didn't watch the show and they went and touched grass. The ratings are the worst in the show's entire history. 5 of the 8 episodes that aired in this first season are in the top 10 of the worst performing Doctor Who episodes of all time as far as viewership. People stopped watching. They listened to Shudigawa. They stopped watching. They turned their TVs off. They went and touched grass. You can go back to Kelly Sue DeConnick. If you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Well, what ended up happening? They didn't buy her book and they stopped buying comic books in general. The comic book industry is dead. It's absolutely dead. It's losing money. It's bleeding money. Look at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. They did deliver what gamers wanted, and now they took a $200 million impairment charge. It died. But we do have an example of someone that did listen to their criticisms. And it was, in fact, very similar criticisms to what we're seeing of Kay Vess. And it's Sonic the Hedgehog. Paramount actually listened to the criticisms of Sonic the Hedgehog when people, gamers, movie fans combined were like, that Sonic the Hedgehog design is absolutely ugly. What are you doing? Change it right now. What did they do? They delayed the movie. They changed it. And now it is actually massive major franchise. They are working on the 3rd film, and they have spin-off shows on their Paramount Plus streaming service. So that's what people actually are rewarded when they deliver on the criticisms that fans give them. Like when fans are telling you, stop what you're doing, this is wrong, I don't want to buy this because what you're doing, maybe you should stop and actually listen instead of plugging your ears, sticking your head in the sand, and saying that they're telling you stuff in bad faith. He's the one who's operating on bad faith because he doesn't even want to listen or hear what the criticisms are. But this is he's not alone in this, right? This is systemic at Ubisoft, and it starts at the top. It starts with their CEO, Yves Guillemot. He did a recent Q1 sales report where he was actually questioned by an investor from Bank of America about the narrative that he was pushing, that the game was receiving positive feedback, and even questioned if Ubisoft would delay the game following massive amounts of negative feedback that they received after they did a team up with IGN where they released 10 minutes of gameplay footage and was just getting just blown up, just obliterated. I think it had 100,000 dislikes and only 800,000 views. The last time I saw it's probably higher than that on both fronts now. And so an investor was literally like, what are you talking about? You're saying it's all positive. I'm looking at this 10-minute gameplay. There's lots of negative comments on this and it doesn't look good. And people are saying it doesn't look good. Like this guy is literally pointing out that they're getting negative feedback and asking if Ubisoft will delay it to actually address it. What has Yves Guillemot done? He does the same thing that Julian Gerighty did. Plugs his ears, sticks his head in the sand. Because this is what he says. The game has gone gold. And for those who don't know, that is a video game term. That means that they aren't going to be making any changes to the game. It is going to be shipped as is. It's not like the music industry where it's a number of units sold. Like 50, I think gold is like 50,000 units or whatever it is. That's not what the case. It means that they're just not changing it. So he says the game has gone sold. So the date is well confirmed for August 13th. And as you mentioned, we'll be showcasing more content of a very high quality, multiple hours that will really show the depths of the open world. That is a key element of the promise to enjoy the exploration of the galaxy and with multiple planets. So that will bode well for the game in terms of high quality delivery. So what is this guy talking about when he's talking about high quality? He's literally talking about how many areas you can explore. He's not actually addressing the feedback that this investor from Bank of America is telling him about, which is the game's bad graphics, bad AI design, bad NPCs. It looks absolutely terrible. I mean, I've made multiple videos on this now. There's one where there's a Pike Syndicate character literally is standing right next to Kay Vess, trying to supposedly trying to kill her, literally does a turnaround like he's Joe Biden, doesn't know where he is, hopping onto the Russian plane. And it's like, what are you doing? She's right there. Shoot her. No, he's going off, turning around, doing all kinds of things. He's like, whoa, where am I going? Like, what is he doing? It's awful. I mean, you look at the physics engines, there's a speeder bike compilation where they run into an immovable object, and instead of going face first into that object, turning into like a bug on a windshield. And no, she literally flies up in the air, like dangles there for 2 or 3 seconds, and then falls back down. It's absolutely horrible. It's horrific. It's atrocious. They should have delayed this. They should have at least fixed this stuff. In fact, they never should have made the female protagonist to begin with. They should have just given us a male rogue like Lando Calrissian, like Han Solo. But you know that this is the DEI agenda. That's why they gave you the female to begin with, because it's all about the Force's female over there at Lucasfilm. And you know Lucasfilm has their hands in all of this game too. But it's not just Guillemot, right? It's the CFO as well. Frederick Tegay said this. We've also said for Star Wars, the level of quality, the world, and the experience is really very high. We are really leveraging our engine, and I think people will love it. No, absolutely not. People are telling you they don't love it, and you're not listening to them. You're plugging your ears, sticking your head in the sand. So, and it's not looking good, because on that same call, another investor, Barclays, Nick Dempsey, questioned the low predictions that Ubisoft announced for their Q2 when this game comes out. So they announced that they were going to have 500 million euros in total bookings for the second quarter. And that's when Star Wars Outlaws comes out. That their second quarter is July, August, September, I think. And so he was like, what is going on here? And this is what he asked. When I look at the guidance for Q2, and if I assume something similar for back catalog in Q2 as Q1, kind of getting to 200 to 230 million euros, that sort of range, for the new release Star Wars Outlaws, when I look at the $70 price and then assuming what you might get from it, I'm getting to around 5 million units, something in that sort of bracket. First of all, where could I be going wrong with that thinking? Secondly, are you just being pretty conservative in your guidance? Because I guess given the interest in the game, we might have thought it would be more than 5 million units. So he's obviously questioning the narrative. He's questioning how much revenue this game is going to be. And what does CEO Yves Guillemot do? Again, plugs his ears, sticks his head in the sand, isn't even going to listen to investors who are like, what is going on here? What are you doing? And he says, we can't comment on the very numbers you are quoting, but what we have factored in is a strong launch for Star Wars Outlaws that reflects the fact that it is among the most awaited games of the industry this year, and a really strong positive community sentiment. I mean, they repeated this ad nauseum throughout this entire call. And also the fact that we are coming with the biggest marketing campaign ever so far for an Ubisoft game. So that's what we've been factoring in the second quarter. So these people are stupid. They're putting bad money after bad money. People are telling them that the game that they're making is not up to par. They need to fix it. They need to change these things. You got investors asking are you going to delay it? You should delay it, because this isn't going to go well. And what are they doing? No, we're going to just spend a bunch of money to try and dupe people into thinking that we've got a high quality project because you can explore a bunch of areas. Like, that's literally how they're trying to sell this game, because the combat looks atrocious. We've already seen people talking about the questing isn't that great either. Like, lots of bad things have been coming out about this game, and these people are literally just burying their heads in the sand. So I don't think this is going to go well for them. And they've done it to themselves. They, as I said at the very beginning, they continue to flagellate themselves over and over and over again. They have really bad leadership. This Yves Guillemot guy, I know he's the co-founder of Ubisoft, but he's clearly not where he needs to be right now. He doesn't have his head on right. His mind has clearly been warped by woke ideology, and it's blinding him to the realities of his company's business. Like, you have investors questioning what you're doing, and you're literally just putting your head in the sand, plugging your ears. And that is a recipe for disaster. And that's what this game is going to be when it releases in 10 days. Let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.